What's going on, everyone? My name is Sherwin, and in this video I just want to do a follow-up video on the driving the Model X in the rain video, because there have been some feedback to correct some of the things that I've shared with you in that video, so I appreciate that. Remember, this is not just my channel, it is also your channel, and thank you for correcting me. So the other thing I wanted to talk about is the new battery options for the Rivian R1T and R1S. So stay tuned for that after I go over some of the corrections that you guys helped me out in the comments below in the previous video. So first off, Ekin Wong was saying that when you go above 55 miles per hour, it goes back to low. In the video, I said it was 60 because I was just going off of me looking at the screen, and that's when I noticed it go back down. But yes, you are correct. I actually did go into the manual and checked it, and that's what it says. Keep in mind, you can view these manuals on the Tesla website. I've owned like gas cars for so long that I have a tendency to be like, man, those manuals are like $200, because I remember I bought one from my previous Acura TL and it was like 180 bucks, and I bought it off eBay, but not realizing, and sometimes I do forget, the Tesla owner's manual is available for free at the Tesla website. So if you ever need to refer to anything, just go there. You could even download it, I believe, as a PDF file. But I'll have all the links in the description below if you want to check it out for yourself. Also, A Wodelis 3633 commented and said, I have a 2018X and it does lower after a certain speed. In the previous video, I had mentioned that I believe that the previous generation Model X can maintain its height. But I went off of, because I'm in a Facebook group, Model X Facebook group, and whenever there's questions regarding ride height and suspension, answers from previous generation owners seem to say that you can maintain the height at a longer period, and you can just lower it manually. And the screenshots that have been shared from previous generation Model X is a different setting. So we don't have those settings, so I assumed, because I don't have a previous Model X to go off of, that it stayed at a certain height for longer periods or faster speeds. So I apologize for that, and thank you for correcting me. Cybertruck manual is not available online, but I've seen photos on Twitter and stuff, and I guess it's available if you own the Cybertruck. It's on the screen, you could select it and you can view it there. I'm not sure why it's not available on their website yet. Maybe it's still changing. But yeah, looking at the manual, it looks like previous generation Model X has a different setting. Instead of it being medium, it's called standard. And it looks like the current generation or refresh Model S, previous generation Model S, and previous generation Model X, the information seems to be similar. So the Model S and Model X slightly behaves differently. I also want to share an interesting question by NF3246. How's the ride quality been? Quiet, smooth? So I thought this was an interesting one, because I never really thought about it until you asked this question, because I'm just sort of used to it. There isn't really much of a difference, at least that I noticed, in the rain and when it's not raining. I guess maybe the dampen of the suspension helps a lot. Now, one thing I was thinking about is when I was driving during the rain, whenever there's puddles, when I'm in my Model Y, I can feel the puddles, because it's like hitting the inside of the wheel well and the car feels heavier. There's a little bit of a tug, and that's pretty much an indication to like, hey, slow down because you're about to lose control, or just watch your speed. I don't know if it's just, it's slightly different on the Model X, and I don't know if it's because I had the ride height higher, set to medium or whatever, because the tires are the same. Our Model X has the 20-inch wheels, and the Model Y is now on 20-inch also. But I can adjust the ride height in the Model X. So when I'm driving on the street, I tend to sometimes increase the height to medium when I see some flooding going on. And I don't feel that tug as much. So the only time I would notice like, hey, maybe I should slow down is like the noise the water would make hitting the wheel well, and sometimes I'll see water kick up, and so I'm like, hey, wait a minute, I should slow down. So there is a difference when driving the Model Y versus the Model X, but I can't say for certain because we don't get that much rain in California. But so hopefully that helps answer the question. I don't know, sorry. And then another comment, which was I think an interesting question as well, is by Kevin Alexander Gaming. What is one of your favorite features on the Tesla? And I was like, hey, you're doing an EV confessions on me, huh? So I took the question as I'm just gonna answer with one feature, and it's pretty difficult, but what I said was the fact that it's an electric car, and I think it's an easy way out of this question, but I think it's very important simply because being that it's electric, it gives you many different things. Like for instance, you could preheat the car inside the garage without worrying about any like toxic smoke or anything like that. It's not dangerous to preheat your car in the garage. Another thing is the cameras are always on, so whether you could think about it as security or just recording any accidents or anything like that, you have access to those cameras all the time if you choose to use them. The third thing is there's less maintenance because it's an electric car, and the amount of driving that we do, I mean, it's very beneficial for us. So everything just branches out with the advantage of it being electric. So there's just so many things simply because it's just running off of a battery. So I thought that was a pretty interesting question. So thank you very much for asking that. I had planned on putting myself in the hot seat and doing an EV confessions with Abby and I, but she doesn't like to be behind the camera. So no one's going to be asking me, and she doesn't want to be asked. So I don't know, but I do want to do that. I already had it in my head as a future video, but thank you for asking. We'll figure something out. Okay, so now let's talk about this Rivian news, which is pretty exciting, I think, especially for those who are like on the fence with purchasing a Rivian. And I've shared in a couple of videos that I like the R1T. I've always wanted the R1T. And not that I don't like how the Cybertruck looks, but just to go back a little bit on the Cybertruck and my opinion on it, I think what's throwing me off is this stainless steel, and it reminds me of silverware. And silverware, I'm like, I gotta keep it clean. I don't want to go off-roading on it, you know, like it's like I would take the Cybertruck to maybe a formal event, you know, come out with a suit and tie, and like I ever go to those anyway. Or like if I get invited to a wedding, like that's the car I would take, because it looks, I don't know if the correct word is elegant. I don't know. I have this weird thing. What am I trying to say? The truck just looks, it just looks nice. It looks too nice, and it's not helping that a lot of the photos and videos I've seen online are like it's being wrapped, is being driven down the street. Now, if you follow Dennis CW and Unplugged Performance, they have been putting up videos of them going off-roading, and that's shifting me back on the other side. Like, yes, I want to see more dirty trucks. I want to see more dirty Cybertrucks. I want to see more muddy Cybertrucks. I want to see big tires with mud in them. So I'm teeter-tottering between the two. But it's not like I'm in a rush anyway, because I don't even know when my reservation number is going to be called up. But with stuff like this, when Rivian coming out with 2 additional battery options and lowering the price, because they came out with the standard pack that'll do 270 miles for 69,900. Now these are not EPA range yet, but then again, EPA isn't really that accurate. I usually take 10% off of whatever number that they share out there. So for instance, like our Model X, I think is rated, our Plaid is 330 or something like that. So I take 10% off and it's 300 miles. My Model Y Performance is like 303 miles of range. I take 10% off of that and it's like 270. And that's really more of an accurate real world estimate. At least the way I drive and traffic conditions and everything, my Y Performance gets roughly about, I would say maybe 280-ish on a full battery. But yeah, Standard Plus is the other battery pack, which is for 73,000, which gives you 315 miles. So lowering the price under 70,000 is even more enticing to me. My goodness. You could lease these now starting at $559 monthly, because they can get the $7,500 tax credit applied. So you don't necessarily get it, but they'll apply it towards your leasing agreement. Now, if you purchase, you don't get the 7,500 tax credit, but you do get 3,750 tax credit if you finance or purchase. But man, those interest rates for 6 years is 6.9, and even more if you do 4 or 5 years or 7 years. It's like over 7%. So that's another factor still, even though with the lower price. I don't like financing at these high interest rates. And the last 3 Teslas that we've owned, is it the last 3? The 2 Ys. No, the last 4. The last 4 Teslas that we've owned, we just purchased it cash. The only Tesla we financed was my first one, the Model 3 long range. But the interest rates are just way too high at the moment. So I don't know. But the great thing is I have time, the luxury of time. So I'm not in a rush to get a truck. I'm just thinking out loud and sharing with you guys. So let me know what you guys think. I think my place in line won't even be until next year, maybe even beyond next year. Who knows? Unless a lot of people cancel their order and my place in line gets moved up. So just be aware when you look at the Rivian website, it says cash due at signing includes $6,000. Capitalized cost, tax, title, license registration, and document fees, and all that stuff is not included in that price. So it may be higher than what you see on your screen. It's similar to Tesla as well. So just, I guess the best way to do it is go all the way towards the checkout. Don't hit submit yet, and it should give you a better number, or like a more accurate number. Well, this was supposed to be a quick video, but thank you very much for the feedback. I felt that I needed to do a video right away to correct some of the things that I've said incorrectly in the previous video. So I have more videos on the way. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. If you like the video, please like. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.